Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News.
Earlier on, we spoke to Florence Ita-Giwa, a former senator from the Cross River South constituency of Cross River State, Nigeria. At the start of the Nigerian Fourth Republic, a position she held from May 1999 to May 2003. She also was a special advisor to former President Olusegun Obasanjo. She discussed politics, a non-governmental organization which is tackling the issue of human trafficking and sex slavery, and she also, of course, discussed politics, Nigerian politics. Let's take a look.
So you have fully dedicated your time to the service of humanity.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. On education and less privileged children.
Yes.
Can you tell us what your NGO is all about?
I actually have two NGOs. One is the Foundation for the Children of Bakassi.
Yes.
That is the NGO that, I come from Bakassi, and people don't appreciate what Niger Deltans talk about, when they agitate. So you need to go to Niger Delta. You need to enter the creeks, to see the suffering of the people that produce the wealth of this country. And I go there, I take like 3 hours boat ride to get to the creeks of Bakassi. And when I started going out there, each time I went back home, it would be impossible for me to relax or sleep or eat because of the plight of the people. A 2-year-old child, by the time she's 2, would understand the tide of the ocean, would know when the tide is low, and would know how to either walk or crawl to the seaside to pick up whatever she can to put in her mouth, naked without clothes on. So I said to myself, to save time, that it's either I put up a foundation and create a motherless, a home to put children, or bring children. But I said to myself, I need to create the next generation of Bakassi children, because they're either on the high seas fishing, or by the time the girl child is 13, she's pregnant, because in the area there's nothing to do than procreation. You understand? So the men come back and pregnate the girls. So and I also realized the fact that, in my opinion, most homes, bring out hoodlums because of lack of care and love. So I said I have a small group, like my pilots, program to start. So I started with 12 at the time, 12 children, both male and female, at the age of like 3, 4, and brought them home and washed them up and put them, cut a long story short, in very, very elitist schools, private schools, where they will now grow up with children of elites and flow with them and become elites themselves. And it's, a tremendous success. We are now 16.
Wow.
Yes. I have 2 4-year-olds, and I have twins, because these are children that from birth have gone through a lot of difficulty. But the good news today is that out of that 16, this year we produced 4 graduates. Produced graduate of petroleum engineering, mechanical engineering, computer science, human development. And then we have a young girl now doing electronic engineering. And these kids were like from one of the best schools in Africa for mining, University of Mines and Technology in Takwa, Ghana. So, and then the others went to Bangkok, because I need to put them where there will be no opportunity for them to get into cultism or interact with the wrong people. So I put them in the right place. Though it's expensive, but I had to do it.
What has the government been able to do for the people of Bakassi, particularly with regard to respect for their rights and also the challenge of internally displaced persons?
I think, the story of, the story of government with the people of Bakassi, it's a long story. I was talking about it last night when I came about 3 a.m. I was discussing with somebody from my constituency, and just a conversation came up about what government has done. Actually, Ruben, if you ask me today what government has done for the people of Bakassi, I don't know. And I've been agitating for the past maybe 15 years. I don't, at some point I was appointed chairman of what they call the settlement committee. And that was just after Donald Duke. And they had just completed some little shanty buildings in one resettlement. I did not support that because, number one, the seeding was not properly done. seeding was done without referendum. Yes, so if Obasanjo at that time had to obey the orders of the world, unlike what Abacha did, because we actually celebrate Abacha, because Abacha was fighting for us, not going to that court. So, and if you gave money, I believe that if you relocate people from the natural place of abode, you have to recreate, you understand, another natural place of abode where they can move, with their political institution, with their traditional institution, with their religious institution, with everything that they have, they can move there. If you go and put people in what you call a resettlement camp, and the traditional rulers that need their domain to be able to continue to, lead their people and all that. So if you put them in a resettlement camp, my opinion is that you've made them lifetime refugees, which is the situation I have. And those resettlement camp breed hoodlums because they're frustrated.
But you've been close to the successive governments in Cross River State. Is it that the government at the state level has also ignored the people of Bakassi, even if the federal government has not been responsive?
The federal government over the years has not been responsible. But, when the last time, when you had that constitution, you were not because you were working with Jonathan. It came out as a constitution, that last national conference. It was
2014.
2014. It came out there that actually government has been allocating so much money, you understand, to the people.
At the point, it was said to be about 9 billion naira.
Exactly, but I don't have a clue because no governor in Cross River State has ever called me as a political leader of that region to come and say, sit down, this is what we have, this is what we can help you with. I don't know. But I hear of projects coming up, but there is nowhere. As I speak now, we have like 4,000 refugees in a schoolroom. And yes, they're procreating there. Wow. They're dying there, and babies are being born there in that refugee camp. So what I do also is to pay money for them to be able to go to school in neighboring schools around there and then take exams.
In retrospect, will you say the ceding of Bakassi, part of it to Cameroon, was a mistake on the side of Nigeria?
A major mistake, a major mistake. And it's always good to let Nigerians know that I scream my head out. Most times, in fairness to Obasanjo, he took me to those meetings, and they claim I was too emotional. At some point, they stopped asking me to go to those meetings because they claim I was too emotional because I would explode at those meetings. I even confronted Biya at one of the meetings, and it was said to be undiplomatic. So the last one, I was actually asked, they arranged for me to leave the room.
Wow.
Yes, in New York, I was asked to leave the room. So it's a thing that was badly done. But he also made efforts after the ceding, just before the last signing of the agreement. In fairness to him, he tried buyback. That conversation was going on well. But I believe that Biya would have gone back to when Abacha invaded the territory, and surprised him. So he did not trust Nigeria that if we buy back and we get back the territory, that we will not use that to try to invade Cameroon. So that conversation collapsed at some point.
Well, I agree with you. The humanitarian crisis there has gone on for so long.
For so long,
it's
all my
unfortunate.
life.
Yes. But let's talk politics.
Right.
You've been in the PDP.
Let me tell you, the good news is that right now there's an area that we have recreated called Day Spring.
What is it called?
Day Spring.
Okay.
Where, because I had to do that.
Yeah.
Where Bakassi people, because the UN had warned Nigeria that if the Bakassi people are not carrying any kind of identity that makes them Nigerians, because we had a choice, and if we choose to remain in Nigeria, that they'll be declared stateless.
Right.
Yes.
So we found an area and quickly registered them there, and they all have their voter's card.
Right.
So they can vote and be voted for. That's the good
You're
news.
also an advocate for human trafficking and sex slavery, correct?
Yeah.
You hosted an event. This is a huge international issue. You hosted an event yesterday in regards to this. Can you tell us what that event was all about?
Thank God I can make it here because that event lasted. It's I'll not take credit. I'll also like to include my state. We have the carnival.
Yes.
The Calabar Carnival. which over the years, we have managed to sustain it. And we try to correct the erroneous impression that the carnival is a street party. It's a very, very serious, it's not a street party. We interpret themes through dance and costume.
Okay.
Okay, so like last year we did the climate change, mitigation of effects of climate change. We did that like a campaign through dance and costume. So this year that just ended, we did migration. So my band, the Seagull, decided to focus on human trafficking and sex slavery. Okay. And we traveled extensively, to
what was that experience?
Research. Yes, horrible experience. We went to Ghana, because we did 2 versions of slavery.
Okay.
We did the involuntary slavery.
Okay.
That's olden days, and then the voluntary slavery. And the voluntary slavery now falls under sex slavery, where the girls actually offer themselves, So I personally made an effort to see, did my research, and, found out that some of the girls are actually, misled, innocently, that, okay, like, you want to go and become an actress, you want to become, not a movie major star,
yes.
Movie star, you want to become a fashion icon, a fashion dressmaker, whatever. We can take you and give you the opportunity internationally.
Yes,
only for them to get there, and they're now attached to a madam. You understand? Who now would tell the girl how much it costs for her to be brought there, or for them to be brought there. And then you now have to get involved in this sex trade under a lot of, dehumanizing condition, for you to be able to pay back. Sometimes you can do that business for 1 year, because the madam, the pimps are taking all the money. But it could be my child. It could be, because a human being is a human being. So I looked at it and said, okay, we have to quickly put in place a campaign, also contribute to how we can stop this. There are those that are forcibly taken away, because by the time you cross Kano into Niger on the desert, before you're put on the Mediterranean Ocean, they're nice to you initially in Nigeria, but once you get into the desert, the condition changes. If you're on the boats, and for instance, you fall ill on the boats, they don't have medical care, they just drop you in the ocean.
They drop you right in the ocean.
Yeah, right in the ocean,
yes.
So you are useless, Even on the ride, the captain can like a girl and take her in and all that. If you arrive there pregnant and all that, they drop you. They just
wow. The theme for this year's, the proposed theme for Calabar Carnival this year is from pessimism to optimism, right?
Yes, Africanism.
Yes, okay. Afro-optimism.
Yes.
Now, what do you mean by that? And how is that an objective for a carnival?
No, it's excuse me. We are talking about Africa, and it still goes back to the confidence that the Africans had to, cultivate 3 years of slavery. If you remember, I'm just going to take you back a little bit. When initially, how many years ago, they didn't know how to define the people of color. So you were not an issue. Gradually, the people of color now started going to school because we lack confidence, because of slavery. We didn't feel like we are normal human beings. We felt like we are underdogs and slaves. But gradually, people of color started going to school, especially in America, and then started coming out, like in the days of Jesse Jackson. So they now started calling them Negroes. Then the universities now, later on, they had like thousands of people, like, 3,000, 4,000 of people now coming out and becoming something. They became they became Black Americans. And then they started showing their voice, and the Obamas came out. Then the women, female, I have a friend, Shirley Jackson, who is a senator. She's like a 4th-term senator, highly intellectual lady. Many of them like that started coming out. Then they became Afro-Americans.
Yeah.
So we are going down that memory lane and saying that from what we were, pessimism, we had, like, your life is hopeless. You don't have a hope. You're not a normal human being. You're a slave. You're like an underdog. So this period that we are developing confidence that you can sit here and talk to the world. Ruben is here talking to the world. Senator Ita-Giwa is here, that we can make it. We are human beings. We are strong. We are educated. We come from a rich continent. and we can develop our continent.
Let's talk politics.
Talk about
You were one of
politics.
the, let me say, founding members of the PDP. You were in the PDP up till the Buhari government came.
Yeah.
And then you were one of the first persons to defect. Why did you defect from the PDP to the APC?
Why did I defect? No, let me just correct one thing. I wasn't a founding member of PDP.
Okay.
I was actually APP when the last time I went to Senate, because in the entire south of Nigeria, the south zone of Nigeria, I was the only senator that defeated the ruling party called PDP. You understand? And went to the Senate to become the deputy minority leader in the Senate. Unfortunately, the issue of, just in a nutshell, the issue of Okadigbo came. But we actually went there first and started fighting separation of powers. Nigeria had just come out from so many different military interventions that in our thinking, it was difficult for us to turn our mind from military rule to democratic rule. So we had to go through the process of demilitarizing our leaders, because it was dictatorial. Nigeria was not passing through federalism, it was a unitary system, you know. So we had serious disagreement with the executive for about 2 years, up to the point where we're not talking. You understand? But after that reconciliation, cut a long story, because it was so bad that what is happening now is, if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it later. It's a joke from what happened in our time. But we actually banned anybody from executive from coming to the, to the legislature, because we wanted to put separation of powers in place. At the same time, still work together. So when we reconciled, and after like 2 years, you know, and politically, in the course of reconciliation, you negotiate, things happen. And because I was the last 7, Okadigbo had 37 senators. I was the last 7 left with Okadigbo. By the time they succeeded, after a very, very grueling,
gruesome... the banana peel.
He didn't fall on anything, but that banana peel was a creation to get him out. He didn't fall on any. Okadigbo did not need any banana peel. You know, he was a serious, good person. But however, I was the last person, you know, like the last to live with him. So, but in remaining consistent and being able to survive under that, circumstance, one would be recognized, you know. So there were negotiations, you know, reconciliations, and eventually I was convinced, again, which I hated to do, because my state was 100% PDP. So, like, I would fight at National Assembly and then go home to fight and all that. So there was reconciliation between me and the then president and my governor. So now they convinced me to join them and work with them, because I have issues, the same issue of Bakassi, so that we can work together. So I joined PDP at that time. Okay. So, I joined. But I also realized that if you defeated a party and you're not part of them from inception, no matter how hard you try, Ruben, you'll be an outsider. You understand? So in my state, politically, I was an outsider. And at some point, I stopped making efforts to be an insider. So I created my own structure. I eventually created my own government and learned how to be strong, to work on my own with my people.
Very nice.
Yes, and I survived. I survived that.
So you're a political activist, right?
Absolutely,
you're a woman.
because I use that platform.
Right. So do you think
at what point did you decide that the PDP was no longer good enough for you? When even in your state now, you have the PDP.
Let me tell you, you were there. Most times I fight for people that I really don't know, but I do not. Nigeria tramples on people a lot. You know, Nigerians can be very, very unkind. I had people in my state that were doing very well in the legislature. I had people in my state that were doing very, very well in the Senate and back at home. Because most of the senators or most of the politicians end up the Abuja politicians. But if you're able to come home and, you know, interact with your people and, you know, empathy with your people, we help them and all that, then in my opinion, you're a good politician. So I had young men that were developing, you know, into very, very good leaders and politicians. But the politics of APC, because at some point, APC went back, you know, to the system of selection. The elections I did, Ruben, I did elections. I fought elections to win. The 4 elections I did, I fought bloody elections to win elections.
I wish we had a little more time, but I want to ask you this very important question, which is...
I've not answered him.
Well, okay.
I've not answered him. So APC, PDP now took tickets from these people and just gave, you understand, without due process. And I had to fight for those people, you understand? So at some point, for 1 year, I did not belong anymore to any political party. I actually, went home and continued to work on my charity because I'm very busy. So it was like at the end of 1 year that I had to think of what platform to use. And I had meetings. And I said, okay, maybe I should now go to this platform that I'll be comfortable. And that's about it.
Well, I know shortly before you joined the APC, I had written an article saying that there are demons in Aso Villa. An article of 1,400 words. But you took a full page to respond to me. So when you later joined the APC, I thought you were using a response to my article.
You are being derogatory by telling me that your one column this thing, I use one page. Number one, you are a journalist, so you can abridge your listening. But really, I read it was very interesting and very, very popular write-up, because when you talked about people falling ill and men losing their manhood and demons and all that. So I said, wait a minute, this is totally out of order. You understand? What is Ruben talking about? I was in the villa for 6 years. And sometimes, especially during Obasanjo, we walked till 2, 3 a.m. And in the corridors of the villa, going back home, I was never confronted with any ghosts or demons. So is this a creation of Ruben or where? And the issue of men losing manhood and all that one you cannot prove because actually I almost asked you. Is Madam complaining? I didn't want to go down.
The article wasn't about me, but looking back now, do you have the impression that indeed there could be demons really in the governance process?
I think demons are a creation of the mind, and I think what you call cabal. Every leader has a cabal. There are people that they work with over the years. You understand? And you go into power, you go in without your cabal. It can be counterproductive to keep such cabal because some of them, what they do, can be counterproductive to your success.
We don't have more time, but how will you assess the relationship between the present National Assembly and the executive? They don't seem to agree on anything.
Totally, and they will not agree because from day one, like I told you earlier on when we were chatting off camera, I'm not a strong political party politician. Because I'll not go out of my way to contest for any political party, but I'm a legislative politician. So from day one, that whatever happened, I knew, like vision, that what would happen today would happen. Because a president that allows a Senate president to emerge without his involvement, you understand, without any input, to independently emerge, they're not friends. The president of the country must create that rapport, must have that cordiality from day one, that you must keep your eyes and ears open and watch body language and see who they are liking, who they are liking, or who they are likely to make Senate President or Speaker. And you must get involved. That's what I did for Obasanjo at that time, from day one. You must get involved. You must work with the two parties and say, look, you need to work with President. President needs to work with you. And President must make inputs. Right. If possible, even send people to go and help campaign, because it's a serious campaign to become Senate President. But when you allow somebody to wake up and you are holding meeting at the conference center, and some senators demand carry people to go and hold this meeting, and then they go into the Senate and all that and choose who they want. If your friend is not handling the gavel, your political leadership and political life is in danger. Today, the political life of the leadership of this country is in danger because the person handling the gavel is not friends with the president. So that should not be allowed. And Obasanjo, I advise him, he did not allow that.
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining us on this segment. I had a lot more questions to ask you, especially with women in politics, because you're such a strong activist.
No, I have a campaign coming on, yes, No Woman, No Vote.
What is it called?
No Woman, No Vote.
Yes,
you understand?
Can you tell us how to ensure participation?
I have that coming up as well. If you're a governor, because the women are just coming up. You understand? They're not. You don't have the financial muscle yet.
Yes.
They're just developing. But if you are governor, if you want the vote of women, you must take a female deputy governor.
Very nice.
And in any senatorial district, there must be a female senator. I'm going out for this election. It does not matter what political party you belong to. If you are a female, I'll come out and campaign for you.
Do you see the possibility of Nigeria having at some point in the future a Theresa May or an Angela Merkel?
No, we are not that civilized yet.
Really?
Do you think it can possibly happen?
It will happen.
I mean,
probably not in my time. You understand? It would happen in future. Maybe in the time of my children and all that. But today, I mean, if you have like in Igbo area that female wants to be governor, and they said that woman doesn't break kola nuts and all that. You know, it's a traditional thing and a financial thing because politics, you know, power is very expensive in Nigeria.
Okay.
So you must have backing, you know, for you to get there.
Thank you very much, Senator,
We
for
hope to
coming
have
to
you
the
come
morning
back.
show.
Really,
Oh, yes, I would love to any day. You know, I'm a fan of Arise, you know.
Okay, great.
Yes, and I really commend this and Nduka, you know, for just resilience, you know, remaining there and creating this, you know, avenue for information.
Thank you, ma'am. That was an interesting interview.
Yes. You can always trust Senator Ita-Giwa.
Yes.
She's been around, she's done this, she's done that. And I like her passion you know, for the Bakassi cause, her commitment, her consistency over the years. But it's curious, though, that she says she doesn't believe that a woman can be president of Nigeria now.
I thought so, too. But she's been a force to reckon with. She's been doing a lot of great stuff with
we have
her
6
NGO.
women. We have 6 women out there at the moment
now, right?
saying they want to take the job from the man and be president of Nigeria. I wish them the best of luck.
Yes, we look forward to a female president, Dr. Ruben, correct? It's time now for a short break. Up next, a clinical radiation oncologist who is committed to improving the survival rates of cancer patients, especially in children, Dr. Joseph Adedayo, will be joining us in the studios. Stay with us.